In the next few minutes, we're going to discuss a number of network mechanisms. These mechanisms are not necessarily limited to cloud computing, but they do have an impact on the quality of service on the cloud. Bandwidth is an indication of the amount of data that can be transferred across a network from one location to another within a specific period of time. Latency is the delay in time calculated from the point in time when a service request is made to the time when the service request is fulfilled. Carriers are organizations that provide wire-level connectivity that enable data to flow across the internet. And these carriers can organize their services in tiers. And these tiers represent the quality of service of their networks from the point of view of performance, reliability, or security. When considering the network traffic usage within a cloud environment, it is important to consider the intra-cloud WAN traffic, that is the traffic that is within the cloud environment, in addition to the ingress and egress traffic, which is the traffic into the cloud and the traffic out of the cloud. Network security services in a cloud environment are services that restrict, monitor, or log the flow of data within a cloud environment in order to protect the underlying cloud resources. A network perimeter can be used to group and isolate a set of IT resources from non-authorized users. FTP is a standard protocol that is used to enable the transfer of files across the internet. Secure FTP is an extension to FTP. It enables the sender of a file to request a secure FTP session that allows data to be transmitted by the sender to the recipient over an encrypted communication channel. When systems are deployed within a network, they need an IP address in order to be able to communicate with other systems on the network. DHCP, or Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, is responsible for assigning IP addresses to systems on the network. When a user makes a request for a resource on the network using the domain name, for example, google.com, that domain name needs to be translated into an IP address of the destination system. The service that is responsible for performing that role is the domain name service. And the domain name service plays a key role because it enables resources on the web to be easily identifiable using a name that we find easy to work with versus an IP address that is a lot more convenient for systems to interact with. So when you make a request for a resource on the web, for example, you type www.google.com as the URL, the domain name service takes that domain name and translates that into an IP address which systems on the internet understand. SNMP, or Simple Mail Transport Protocol, is used to send electronic mail or email over the internet. SNMP, or Simple Network Management Protocol, is a common protocol that is used to monitor devices on a network. It is supported by a wide range of devices such as printers, routers, switches, servers, etc. And it is important because it enables these devices to essentially report on issues that may occur on the network. On any network, there are typically hundreds of devices exchanging messages. SYSLOG is a mechanism that enables these devices to send event-based messages to a logging server. And these messages can be held in the logging server for real-time analysis or for future reporting and analysis. The network transport layer uses TCP, which is the Transmission Control Protocol, an Internet Protocol, which is IP, to enable a standardized mechanism for end-to-end transmission of data packets across the Internet. Network address translation is a mechanism where a router modifies data packets such that multiple devices within the internal network, which have a private IP address assigned to it, can utilize a single public IP address to access resources on the Internet. Essentially, the way this works is that the router maintains a network address translation table. And within this table, it maps the internal private IP address and port of the device making the request against the router's public IP address and port. Now, within the packet, there is an indication of the destination resource. So when the router makes a request for the destination resource, it sends with that resource or with that request its public IP address. And when a response is returned, that response that is received is then mapped back to the requesting client using the network address translation table. WBEM, or Web-Based Enterprise Management, is a standardized way of accessing management information within an enterprise organization. And this is usually used by very large enterprise organizations as a way of standardizing the way they manage resources across an extensive network. In a bus network topology, every node is connected to a central cable, and that central cable is referred to as the bus or the backbone. In a mesh network topology, every node is connected to the other node, and this enables the mesh topology to be the most fault tolerant, but at a cost. It also requires the most amount of cabling to set up. In a ring network topology, every node is connected to the other node in a circular fashion. In a star topology, every node is connected to a central hub or switch, and the nodes communicate by sending messages through this switch or central hub. A tree network topology is essentially made up of multiple star networks that are connected through a linear bus backbone.